G'day everyone, my name is Asian Dad and welcome to my videos. Today we're going to explore this Intel NUC 11 Pro. Its codename was Tiger Cannon. Now as you can see, it's a mini computer. It's about the size of my palm. It's extremely small and I'm amazed by how small these computers are becoming. Now we're going to have a look into the thermals as well as the fan noise and look at the internals and also the performance of this computer and to have a look at the behavior of the processor as well. Now we'll be putting timestamps along this video so you can actually skip to different sections that you may be interested in. Before we start, I'd like to say thank you to Intel for sending this NUC 11 Pro for me to review, and then after this review I will be sending this particular unit back to Intel. First, let's start off with what this computer can be configured with. With the processor wise, it is using the 11th gen Intel core and you can configure it with even i3, an i5 or an i7. As for the RAM wise, it's got 2 SODIMM slots and can configure it up to a maximum capacity of 64 gigs of RAM. As for storage wise, it again has 2 slots of M.2 NVMe slots there, so you can actually put the SSDs in. As for the graphics wise, it uses the Intel integrated graphics, which is the Intel RSXE, and this year's been testing it. I must admit they've done a very good job on the Intel integrated graphics. Look at the ports. Starting on the front here, we've got 2 USB type A ports, so they're USB 3.2 Gen 2, and then you've got the power button. And on the left hand side, we've got the Kensington lock slot. Looking at the rear of the Tiger Cannon, we've got the AC power port, and then we've got 2 HDMI version 2.0 B ports, and then we've got 2 Thunderbolt ports which are type C, and then we've got the Ethernet port, and then we've got 1 USB type A which is USB 3.2 Gen 2 port, and then we've got another USB 2.0 port which is a type A port. The Intel NUC 11 does not have the power supply built into the computer, so it comes with a 120 watt power adapter, and I've got to say it's about a medium size power adapter. It's actually quite light. It's not the smallest 120 watt power adapter I've seen, but it does a pretty well job. I did test out the power consumption of this Intel NUC 11 Pro. Now I took our base measurement when the computer was on idle, and it consumed an average of anywhere between 11 to 12 watts of power. Then I put the computer on 20% load, so that's pretty much average use, and it was consuming an average of anywhere between 14 to 19 watts of power. Then I put the computer on 100% load, and the computer was consuming an average of 48 to 55 watts of power. As for the temperatures and fan noise of the NUC 11 Pro, when I took the measurements, my ambient temperature was 16 degrees Celsius. So I took the base measurement when the computer was on idle, and the hottest area of the computer measured in at 25 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, hit a maximum of 38 decibels. Then I put the computer on 20% load, so that's pretty much average use. So tasks like office productivity work, streaming videos, surfing the web, and the hottest area on the computer measured in at 28.5 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, hit a maximum of 39 decibels. Then I put the computer on 100% load, and the hottest area on the computer measured in at 37 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, it went all the way up to 45 decibels. So you can see this computer does not run that hot at all, and it's actually relatively quite quiet. So that's not bad at all. Looking at the stability performance of the processor in the Tiger Cannon, this one's configured with an i5 1135G7 with a base clock speed of 2.4 GHz. Now I've had this computer running on 100% load for the last 2 hours, so that's the processor, RAM and hard drive on 100% load, and I can see that the speed and the performance of the processor is running anywhere between 3.3 to about 3.6 gigahertz. So that is above the 2.4 gigahertz, which means it doesn't have the thermal throttling for the base, which is fantastic to see. And it is maintaining quite a high turbo boost still, even after all this period of time. Now, the actual core temperatures for the processor is anywhere between 62 to about 78 degrees Celsius. Let's have a look at the turbo boost behavior of the Tiger Cannon in this i5 1135G7. So I'm going to start the process for putting this computer on 100% load. I'll start the stopwatch and we'll just watch the speed of the processor. So now we're up to around about 3.8 gigahertz, which is quite good. And that's pretty much as far it will go. So about 3.8 gigahertz is its turbo boost, maximum turbo boost 4. And it is going to pretty much just sit around here for probably a very long time, considering that I know that the stability performance is anywhere between 3.3 to about 3.6. So it won't drop too much from its maximum boost, turbo boost, which is fantastic to see. Let's have a look at the internals of Tiger Cannon. First off, you just need to turn around its back and then undo the 4 Phillips head screws. Now you probably might need screwdrivers to undo them firstly, enough they can just use the rubber bits for that, which is really easy to do. And then you just need to lift it up and that will get you to internals. Now I'm going to show you on the other side of the cover here. You can see 2 thermal tapes for the 2 M.2 slots for the storage. That's pretty nice and neat to see. So this actually becomes a big massive heat sink there. And I'm just going to remove that to the side. And this is the internals. Now I'm going to start on the left hand side here. We can see 2 SODIMM slots for the RAM, and they can go up to a maximum of 64 gigs. And then we've got an M.2 slot here. Now this is for M.2 2230, and then we've got another M.2 slot here. Now this one can take the M.2 to 80, and then above there is the Wi-Fi Bluetooth card. Now the M.2 to 80 will go all the way up to here, so it goes above this slot here, which is kind of neat to see. Now turning around its back, you can't really see much there, so I've actually taken its cover off already. So the processor lives underneath here. I'm not going to actually take it off because there's not really need to do that. You wouldn't be actually doing any upgrades because all the upgrades is actually all on this side of here, which is really easy to access. While I've got the computer here, I just want to show you the direction of the airflow in the Tiger Cannon. So I've got the front of the computer here, so that's where the power button is. And how the airflow works is it sucks in the air from both of the side vents, as you can see from here on the left and also on the right. And then it uses the fan and pushes it to the rear of the computer, so you can see the rear exhaust vents. So again, it goes from sucks in the air from side and then pushes it to the rear. I did perform the benchmarks for this NUC 11 Pro. This one's configured with an i5 1135G7 with 32 gigs of RAM and 512 gig SSD. Now, so I'll put up the results for Passmark, Citybench R23, PC Mark, 3D Mark, Crystal Disk Mark, MATLAB 2020B, Geekbench 5, and SpecView Pref. I also include some gaming benchmarks like Far Cry New Dawn and Phoenix Mortal Rising. Overall, I found this NUC 11 Pro quite a nice, neat little unit. I love the form factor of this computer here. It doesn't run that hot and it's actually quite quiet. And it's got mounting points around different areas, so you can actually mount this behind TVs or even for digital signage or even for AV systems or even for the home theater systems there. I really do like this little small neat little computer here. I think Intel have done a fantastic job on this NUC 11 Pro. Now if you find this video informative or enjoyed it, or even just to share it around to help me out, do smack that like button for me. And also if you haven't done already, subscribe to my channel by hitting that subscribe button. I do try to upload a new video every week. And just remember, imperfections in life makes it beautiful and interesting. I'll see you next video.